Good evening everyone, DRBMiller here. How are you all doing? Did you have a good day? I certainly did, but you know what? My day was full of rest because I played this wonderful new Battle Royale shooter Apex Legends yesterday for a long while, as soon as I realized that indeed it was released, and it was literally dropped out for clear blue skies without any announcement. And Respawn Studios actually did take a massive risk by releasing this game with no any marketing campaign or previews or anything like that, and it was literally a sensation. It took the internet obviously by storm, with millions and millions of people coming in on Monday night, and indeed yesterday it increased tenfold. So I had lots of good missions and cooperative team play when I was on my PS4 yesterday. I think I've done about 9 hours on trot, which actually is probably a record for me because usually my streams are not as lengthy, and usually they're split into several sections, you know, with breaks and all that. But this was so captivating and so engaging, and indeed quite relentless, because we were leveling up and cracking on, and a couple of teams really quite good. And I was able to really even get my first victory, which was astonishing. And then I had probably between half dozen and dozen highly placed teams, really between 2 and 6. And then there was some real bombs as well. And as you know, in Battle Royale, there are two key issues. The first and the biggest one is your drop-off point. And if you have a person choosing a major building for your first drop-off, then obviously you are intercepted by the teams and get killed right at the beginning. This game is not about shooting up other enemies. It is about stealth. It's about hiding, about outmaneuvering and outsmarting your enemies in a way which is obviously based on your tactics and strategy. So really very enjoyable. The characters are a bit like those guys from graphic novels. It does resemble Borderlands a bit in its graphic design, but in terms of its own gameplay and visuals, it is closer to the games like PUBG and Fortnite, because obviously you're playing a tactical team. Each member is allocated as sort of separate kind of character, and they have different powers and different abilities. So in fact, you know, there is we could say a link or similarity to what we were doing during the last 2 weekends with Anthem, because obviously you are a member of a team where everyone is a specialist in a certain way, and therefore the tactics are very much based on, you know, basically in Anthem what suit you're wearing, in here what character you've chosen. And you do have obviously a choice when you're selecting the team members. Then you can choose one of those, initially 6 and then 8, and I think there are going to be a few more characters introduced as well. So really very enjoyable, very exciting, very pacey, and on average the matches for me were lasting between 15 and 20 minutes. I can see that Ibdo is here. Hello Ibdo, how are you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining our community here of Apex Legends. And I have many veterans here of Destiny, and I think some of them are a bit apprehensive about Apex Legends, and not everyone is quite keen on Battle Royale. You know that in Destiny we divide people onto those who are kind of playing the game and story missions, and those who are focused on competitive multiplayer, which is basically in Crucible. And I think some of these guys might be quite keen on joining in and having a look. And I can see that Ibdo who's here is saying that I'd like to join in, but I'm playing on PC. Well, I have some good news for you, Ibdo. We cannot really do cross-platform today, but there have been many requests coming the developer way. The developers called Respawn, and they had confirmed immediately after the game was released that the game indeed will be cross-platform. So we are going to be able to come into the same arena, not on the first day, maybe within the first couple of weeks, but they're definitely working around the clock on that, because they do know what the benefits are when you compare, you know, games like PUBG and Fortnite in particular, with the very large number of community members coming in and then teaming up. And I think this is absolutely imperative for those new games coming out, particularly multiplayers and Battle Royale, because you really have people playing the game on different platforms, and you really want them to be able to combine the scores and get their teams together. And you know, so really I thought yesterday, after doing it for quite a few hours, that there were some PC players in there, but apparently the assumption I had was dispelled after I sort of gone through various online forums and online magazines, where it was clearly stated that the game is certainly presently not offered as a cross-platform. I don't know, it just seemed that some of the guys were a bit more precise in shooting, or had better weapons, or they had better targeting systems, because I did shoot quite a few enemies from fairly close range, powerful weapons, and they didn't die, whilst for instance I would die sometimes with just a couple of shots. Don't know what the reason is, but there is a reason somewhere, and we are going to find out as we crack on and carry on with our, obviously, Apex Legends adventures. So, obviously, this is a new broadcast. It's literally been construed on the spot. I did not plan to do anything like this at the moment. We were to carry on with Destiny 1 and 2 and then with Anthem. But as we have this absolutely wonderful, delightful, very exciting, very smooth Battle Royale game coming in, then obviously there is no reason as to why we shouldn't engage. Certainly this week we are going to be dedicating quite a bit of our time to this beautiful brand new shooter. And obviously, you know, I am a PUBG veteran and I absolutely love these games where you have to be using your brain and your tactics and your strategy in order to outsmart the enemies. And literally yesterday was the day where I was just literally learning the ropes. Still haven't learned everything. I do need to learn on how to, for instance, change certain weapons and, you know, a few other bits and pieces to do with controls, but all of that is coming. The idea is to be just cracking on and learning as we go along. In fact, I did learn a couple of things yesterday as there were some people coming in and indeed giving a helping hand. There was one thing that I you know, find a bit strange or unusual, was the use of chat and the audio, because some people were obviously able to talk and they were heard in the game, the others were not. I'm not sure what the reason for that is. Apparently I didn't realize that I could be heard in the game, and someone alerted me on this, but obviously I did not say anything which would be of detriment to the players. But I did complain sometimes, and I could see that people in a team were not really displaying cooperative teamwork, because they say this is a cooperative multiplayer and it's entirely, the success is based entirely on constructive teamwork. If you're not in a team, you're not thinking like a team member, you will be killed. And there were some teams which were pretty good here yesterday. And I can tell you, when attacking the enemy, they were not attacking three of them together, but tactically from three separate positions, usually within 180-degree range, or even from 360-degree range. And, you know, there were obviously deaths of those teams that were not paying attention. So it's all about strategy and tactics and stealth. It isn't about destroying, you know, as many enemies as you want or collecting scores, because what you want to do is you want to be the last team in the arena which survives, and it's the best if you're tackling only about 4 or 5 teams rather than 20, as you could see at the very beginning. So without further ado, we are going to crack on, but before we do that, I want to tell you there have been some news regarding Anthem, and I did receive some developer videos today that are absolutely astonishing, and the developer video is called Anthem the Endgame. So for all of you who are here with me for those 2 weekends, and for everyone who wants to join our Anthem community, head to my Twitter and you will find a tweet in there, that 2 tweets. One is basically my response to the news which is sent to BioWare, and the other is directly retweeted from Anthem, and there you can basically watch the video and experience for yourself the beauty of that world and the complexities that we are going to have with the game once it's released. They did indicate that there will be many different ways in which we are going to be able to engage with the content, one of which is the difficulty levels. So for the demo we had just, I think, 2 difficulty levels, but for the full gameplay, if I'm not mistaken, there are going to be either 5 or 6, and everything you do will be then dependent on what difficulty level you choose. So some people may start with easy, progress to medium, then to hard, and then to all the other insane difficulties, and therefore they'll experience the gameplay from a different viewpoint, with new missions and sub-quests being thrown in, and that is astonishing, as well as some competitive gameplay in there. They didn't exactly reveal what that was going to be, but it looked to me a bit like a mixture of raids and strikes and Destiny in concept, not otherwise, and I really look forward to that. So everyone from the Anthem community, head to those videos and get acquainted, get to know what is still there to come. We're all waiting for that 15th or the 22nd of February. On the 15th, all the Origin members are going to be able to access the game early, and on the 22nd it's a worldwide release for everyone. So buy a copy if you've not done so. Make sure it's preloaded. Massive game, probably going to be occupying 140 gigabytes of the console space initially, so make sure it's all done and dusted and ready for that launch. And then what was the other thing I wanted to tell you? That I had a lot of response on Instagram and Twitter to my videos and screenshots from Anthem. Lots of people are anticipating the game. Everyone's very happy and very excited about everything seen during the demo weekends. And obviously people are, in addition to that, not that concerned about the technical glitches, because they know they are going to be resolved, and very excited and overwhelmed by the content. I think the biggest bonus which we could have had was that extra content thrown in the form of various events on Sunday afternoon, and we all got in, we all played all of those wonderful events. And I have to say, because my team was experienced and we already leveled up to 15 and we had some good scores previously, we were encountering lots of different events. If I'm not mistaken, we would have completed between 6 and 8, and they were really good, with lots of different enemies. And the best of which was the biggest event with what's it called, Ancient Ash Titan. And this is a beast which is really formidable and very hard to kill, with all kinds of abilities, inclusive, the ability to cause earthquakes and fire bombs and you name it. And we just loved it, and we were able to destroy that Ancient Ash Titan. Well, I wasn't particularly skilled due to the glitches which were gluing me to one position in the arena, but then two of my teammates did not have those glitches and they were able to engage better, so all of us together defeated that Ancient Ash Titan. And I think that was literally the highlight for me of those 6 days when I tested Anthem demo. I really loved it. I obviously had it recorded and I put it on my Twitter, so basically if you're interested, head to Twitter, have a look in there. In fact, I'm going to be also doing some clips of Apex Legends. As you know, this is quite time consuming and I had no time to do that yet. But yesterday I did play with a terrific stealth team, and we were randomly selected, or maybe the other two guys played already before. I don't know, I was brought into the team one or the other, and you could really tell from the player behavior if people were already a team from before, not maybe from Apex Legends, but maybe from other Battle Royale games like PUBG and Fortnite, etc. And we won our first match. And that was really astonishing. So I've got that first match recorded and I will edit it, basically present it as a highlight and then place it on Twitter and Instagram. You'll be able to see it. But tonight we have lots of battles ahead of us, so why don't we just simply crack on?